So we looked at the site and we stumbled into real estate. And from real estate, we developed a strategy to make money through an asset class that most other people overlook, that can actually has a lot of advantages from a point of view that there's no tenants, toilets, and termites. There's no repairs. You don't have to actually go visit the property. So something that I could do while I was traveling, while I was at work, while I was a job that I didn't have to take days off to go visit property, meet with contractors and things like that.
Welcome to the Real Estate Mogul MD podcast. Thanks for tuning in and taking control of your financial future. This is a show where we not only motivate and inspire, we give you actionable real-world experience to help you live life by design. You'll hear journeys and stories from other physicians, investors, coaches, consultants, and entrepreneurs. And now, here's your host, Brett Riggins. Land has been in every single real estate deal I've ever done. I've actually bought vacant land before. I've flipped vacant land. I've bought land, done development deals. And something I haven't done is scaled that land piece. And I've talked with a few other investors who are able to scale this. Today's guest has given us some knowledge bombs, and we have a wonderful conversation. He's went from 2 suitcases, a nearly empty bank account, and a big dream to a multi-million-dollar land business. Now it's flipped over 5,000 properties. And from that experience, they've created the Forever Cash model, which has helped over 1,000 people become millionaires through their free and paid educational programs. Everybody, please welcome Mr. Jack Bosch to the show. Jack, welcome to the show, man. I'm excited, as always, to have these conversations, but today to talk a little bit about something we don't talk about a lot, but it's under us every single day. So let's jump into this. First of all, thank you for your time, Jack. Welcome to the show.
Thank you very much for having me. That's a fun way of saying what we're going to talk about, that it's under us every day. I've never thought about it
every day. And it's the things that we kind of take for granted. And it's the thing that doesn't appreciate like the other things that we buy when we buy real estate. But before we get there, Jack, tell us a little bit about who you are. What's your professional background and where are you at today, man?
Okay, sounds good. Yeah, so I'm originally from Germany, live in Phoenix, Arizona, came here at age 27. I'm 54 now, so it's 27 years been here now. As a matter of fact, sometime in like a couple of weeks from now, I'll be officially 27 years here, and came here to do an MBA. So I had a German master's in business and came over here to do an exchange program and add an American master of business administration. So I got basically 2 masters. Started in corporate America at a software consulting firm, not because I liked it, but very simply because that was the only job I could get because of some prior college working experience that would allow me to get the green card. So when you come here as an immigrant, you don't automatically get a green card. Obviously, if you want to do the legal way, which is obviously the way that I've done it, is you have to get a job where the company sponsors your process to get the green card. In my case, it took 5.5 years, worked in the software industry, didn't like it, didn't enjoy it, but hey, it did what I needed to do, because I also had met this wonderful young lady here, also an immigrant from Honduras, Central America. And we wanted to try out this relationship and make it really see if we can make it work. We're married now 23 years, so that worked out.
Congratulations. Yeah.
Thank you. And then 2-3 years into it, we realized that this is not the career path we wanted to go. And we couldn't quit, but we started. I was working 70, 80 hours a week, but the pain was so much, meaning the pain of like not being together, constantly being at work, working on something I didn't like. And the technology work, you constantly have to study and learn the newest and things. And once you learn the new technology, it's outdated already. And didn't want to do all of that all the time. Plus, it wasn't even my passion at all. And so it was a means to an end to the green card. So we looked at the site and we stumbled into real estate. And from real estate, we developed a strategy to make money through an asset class that most other people overlook, that can actually has a lot of advantages from a point of view that there's no tenants, toilets, and termites. There's no repairs. You don't have to actually go visit the property. So something that I could do while I was traveling, while I was at work, while I was a job that I didn't have to take days off to go visit property, meet with contractors and things like that. And that asset class is actually, can I let the cat out of the bag? It is actually
What are we standing on?
Land.
Land, that's right.
Land and lots. So my wife and I have since flipped 5,000 pieces of land. We buy them. We basically do a wholesale concept. We buy them super cheap, sell them more expensive, make money in the middle. The average profit is like $15,000, but that includes some deals where you make 3,000 and some deals where you make 100,000. And one of our students just made $1 million in the deal 2 months ago. And so bottom line is and then also the second concept is we sell those properties with seller financing. So we basically now build up cash flow. Like you buy a property, $100,000 property for 30 grand, sell it for 100 grand, get a $30,000 down payment and get $1,000 a month for the next 10 years with interest. You just generated $1,000 in cash flow for the next 10 years, which every single dollar of that is profit. So in combination, we've built up within 6 months enough cash flow and cash that we could quit our jobs. Around that time, we did get our green card and we were able to quit our jobs. And I think 8 months later, we were millionaires and quit everything, never looked back, done this full time. And then 15 years ago, added to that actually a coaching side of things. So now we've taken thousands of people to success and 1,000 people even to millionaire status.
Yes, that's amazing. So congratulations on being here for 27 years and this time when the math is kind of easy, right? When it's just half and half like that, right?
Exactly. Right.
And the marriage, congratulations on that. And this direction into real estate. That's amazing. And the consistency, the persistence, the drive and what it takes to continue through the change in markets, through the change in areas. So congratulations on all of that, Jack. And I'm excited to dive down into this, but I didn't want to brush past this. Talked about this millionaire thing. What does it mean to you to be a millionaire?
It really it means nothing from a point of view of like, oh my God, I'm a millionaire. No, I'm very down to earth, normal kind of person. That's the feedback I get from everyone when we meet our students and we have events and things like that. They're like, Jack, you're so normal. It's like, why wouldn't I be, right? It's like just because we figured something out that makes us money doesn't make me Superman or doesn't make me like something that I can all of a sudden walk around as like I'm this better than anyone else. No, From that point of view, nothing. But from a point of view of just peace of mind, it has changed the world for me. Yeah. Like being able to wake up, like for example, earlier this year, I took 3 months off. I took a 3-month sabbatical. And part of that is I walked what's called the Camino de Santiago, which is a 500-mile pilgrimage to Spain. And not necessarily did it for religious reasons. I just wanted to kind of simplify life. So I put a backpack on my back and got some walking sticks and flew down to Spain and walked 500 miles in 35 days, knowing, and it's super expensive. It was the cheapest trip I've ever taken because you stay like in $15, $20, like hostels and stuff like that. Yeah. Or even if you stay in a hotel, it's like $50. But it's not about the money. It's about, I met so many people there that were like struggling financially and struggling and had to really like, can I do this or can I do that? Or, and I had to think about every $5 I spent. And I was just like, I didn't say anything about it, but I simply walked and just knew that I can stay anywhere, can eat anything I want. I can do anything what I want to do. And at the same time, it's not going to make a dent in the bank account because, or it's not the wrong say that the income is secure no matter what I do. Mm-hmm. Right? And that was a beautiful thing because it allows you to really do in life what you really want to do. And in this case, I wanted to walk. And then afterwards, my family joined me and we did a 2-month trip to Europe. And so we basically stayed for 3 months and just got back a few weeks ago. And now it's back to work, but I'm excited to work again because I've had these 3 months to just recharge.
It's amazing. And the fact that you've helped over 1,000 people become millionaires through the paid educational programs and the free stuff, like just giving that stuff away, because you could have had a conversation with probably there's been 1 or 2 takeaways from those conversations you had during that month-long walk that may change somebody's life. What is it? What is it that you find happening a lot in the conversations, Jack, when you're speaking with somebody that says, I wish I could do that. I wish I was this person. I should have done this. What are some things that you find stick out to you, that these mental blocks, or what is it that's keeping people from taking action and becoming a millionaire? Because it's not any one of us can do it, right?
Yes, yes. We have people in their 80s that are just one lady, Aline, just made $65,000 on a deal, and made more in other deals. And we have college students that made $700,000 in their first year, or 600,000. Sorry, I'm wrong. What makes it, everyone can do this. I think it's an inner attitude. The first question is, people think it is complicated. Real estate is complicated, and normal real estate is more complicated. Like, I have to say, we failed at house wholesaling because we didn't know how to estimate all the repairs of the kitchen. So in a house wholesaling situation where you get a house, let's say that's worth $500,000, and you want to get it for $300,000, and you're estimating that there's $40,000 in repair, that deal works because you now sell it for $330,000, make $30,000. Somebody puts $40,000 in it, plus all these other costs. They're really at $400,000. Now they're selling it at $500,000, and they're making like 80 grand for all this effort. That makes sense. But what if you're wrong with the estimation, and instead of it taking $30,000 in repairs, it actually is a complete rebuild, and it costs $100,000 in repairs. And that was the situation in those first few deals that we found, because we tried first house wholesaling, and we found this triplex, and it was a complete teardown, as I know now, but I didn't know it back then. So we got it on a contract at the wrong price, estimated everything wrong, and as a result, nobody bought it. So, but even for that, I had to stop what I do. I had to drive down there, had to walk to the property, had to estimate repairs, and many people don't have that time, and they don't have that know-how. But once we got into land, we realized that we don't have to go see the property. We don't have to estimate repairs. What we do need to estimate is the market value, which we figured out the 5-minute formula that you can figure out every property market value very, very quickly, well, in 5 minutes. And so when I talk to people, their first hurdle is like, well, I don't have time. This is too complicated. And that is true when you go into something that requires a lot of time and that is complicated. Like house rehabbing, you become a fix and flipper. It's like a second job, because first of all, you gotta you gotta hire the contractors. You gotta, like, we have a multifamily property in Louisiana that we just had complete remodeled. I mean, I have one employee whose full-time job is to manage that project, right? Because, I mean, of course, it's 90 units that have to be upgraded, not just one house, but it still is. So it's a different kind of complexity level, but still, the contractors don't show up. They need to order something. You need to be on Home Depot with them because they need to buy something. You will need to put their credit card, because you're not going to give them your credit card because they're going to use it for all kinds of stuff, and et cetera, et cetera. So it becomes like a second job. But there are some asset classes like land that are in principle so simple that you can do them part-time. And that's the first aha moment that people realize, like, okay, I don't have to go talk to this. I don't have to go to the city. I don't have to get building permits. I don't have to go estimate repairs. I don't have to get quotes from 5 different contractors. I don't have to supervise them. I don't have to be there every day. And it's like, no, you simply get a $50,000 piece of land on a contract for 15 grand and sell it for 30 again, and you make $15,000 in the process, perhaps 14 after closing costs. And they're like, okay, I can do that, right? So that's one of the things that people, that's like more like a hurdle in their mind, that they think, oh my God, this is so much work. This is so complicated. And of course, doing land flipping is work too. You got to put up some systems in place and things, but it's so much simpler than everything else that we have a lot of people that actually do this, that add it on part-time to what they already do. And then over time, it replaces what they do, or it allows them the freedom to step back and do what they do, in not full-time anymore.
Yeah. What is it that separates successful students, successful colleagues from unsuccessful colleagues or students? What's the difference between them?
Yeah. So a lot of it is mindset, and a lot of it is like is like perseverance. And I think that comes down to your training in a way. So we always very excited when we have somebody come in our coaching program that has a track record of already being successful in something else before. Because every day, like when any business you build, any business, no matter what it is, whether it's a medical practice, whether it's or you go, not even a business, even getting to become a medical doctor or becoming, or getting an MBA or doing things, you have good days and you have bad days, and you have high points and you have days where you want to just crawl in bed and just cry and just not, and eat a bucket of ice cream and just not or whatever.
That's the day you come back from a 3-month sabbatical. That's the day you want to crawl back in bed, right?
Yeah, well, I was excited to come back actually,
I know.
but yeah, before, so what separates the ones that on a down day say like, you know what? Okay, it's just a down day. I've seen this before. Is exactly those that have gone through a similar kind of process before in their life. And so if somebody has a college degree, if somebody has gotten through like several promotions in job or has managed certain projects where they're like up and downs and things like that, but they came out at the tail end successfully, those are the people that will succeed, that succeed vastly, because very simply, they know there's a little bit of work involved. They know not every day is going to be flowers and sunshines and rainbows. And they just know that, hey, there's a process. If I put this process in place, no matter what, come rain or sunshine, process in place, I come out at the tail end with exactly these results. And then they just go implement, and they do. It's those that are like, that's those that perhaps haven't had that yet, or perhaps had trauma in their life of like where they repeat, or they have a pattern of repeatedly giving up. Those are the ones that struggle, because guess what? It's going to be just another thing that they'll go give up on.
Yep. Yeah. Maybe the ones that switch from the next cool thing, the next thing where they're looking for that, the easy button, that easy button of, hey, I want to get rich quick. And it's not like that. Even when you talk, Jack, about one contract or one transaction, whether it's 15, 50 or 100,000, it's not that easy, right? It just doesn't happen like that. There's more that goes into it. So they don't have the perspective. The unsuccessful students don't have that perspective of the persistence required.
Yeah.
Right.
More than anything, it's like anything. There's a little bit of a learning curve in everything in life, right? So, and you know that with the audience being in the medical field, I mean, you don't just know how to do something in the medical field and wake up one morning and know it. Like you get stuff wrong a lot at the beginning, probably, until that's why there's a residency, and that's why you go follow the doctors, and that's why you go, but that's why they don't let you do surgery the first day you come out of school. And I assume, I'm not a medical doctor, but I know a lot of my friends are. And so it's the same here, but once you're good at it, then it's just rinse and repeat in many ways. There's routine processes that you then just do again and again and again. And then it becomes simple. Of course, there's always like a possibility for a deal to fall apart, something to happen. But even that, like usually there's like a few reasons why a deal falls apart. And once you've gone through these things a few times, you're like, okay, this is happening. Let me go do X. And this is happening. Let me go do Y. And you know exactly how to react it. And then it becomes like cookie cutter, rinse and repeat. And again, the people that have never gone through a learning curve like that, they don't trust that the result is actually going to be there. And they don't trust themselves to be able to make it through there. And make it sound like it's all this big hard thing. It's not. It's so much simpler. Our process only has 5 steps. Like you select an area in the country, you can do this because you can do this virtually anywhere. You can do this anywhere in the country, virtually from home. You send direct mail or contact these owners. We use direct mail or cold calling, but we don't cold call ourselves. We hire a company to cold call for us. We get leads. We make offers. We do a little bit follow up on those offers, because sometimes it takes the second or third offer before they accept it. And then once we have an offer accepted, we go find the best realtor in the area, typically, to go sell the property for us, and we make money. Like that is as simple as it gets, is a process. And there's none of these other stuff involved. So but within that, of course, there's a few things you need to learn, the situations you come across. And the people who fail are the people that simply don't trust themselves and don't have that belief that delayed gratification belief. They want instant gratification. And delayed gratification is simply that I do the work today, and it's going to take me a few weeks to set this up and a few weeks to get this all going. And then I get the deals, and then I get the money. And they often give up after just like 2-3 weeks if they don't have already the big check in their hand.
So if this is kind of hitting that interest for one of the listeners out there today, Jack, and they go to Land Profit Fund, LandProfitFun, landprofitfund.com, and they say, hey, I want to, this sounds like, because the 5 T's, I mean, you threw it out there, the 5 T's of real estate. When we're talking about, you mentioned termites and trash and tenants, and let's see, there's one more. What's that? Toilets, that's my favorite. Toilets, yes. The one that still is in there, though, is the time piece. And that time piece, if there's a physician, maybe a med student, a dentist listening out there today, they go to the website and say, hey, Jack, how can I make this work? I've got a full-time job. That time piece is still in here. Is this possible for me to set up, given the time that I have and the energy that I have? I have to learn, I have to burn, in order to get there. What would you say is a monthly time requirement to get something like this up and running in the first year?
So I think if you can at the beginning, if you can dedicate like, let's say 8 to 10 hours a week to it, you can set up the things. And then it depends a little bit on your budget, how much you do. Like if you look at the spectrum of what you can do, over here is where you can do everything all yourself. Obviously, if you do everything all yourself, it's going to require a whole bunch more time. Over here is the other spectrum where you can outsource like 90% of everything and automate 90% of everything. So you spend very, very little time of it. But of course, these outsourcing and automation solutions, like you hire a call center to take your phone calls for you, so you don't have to take a phone call, right? That's a few $100 a month. Then you have a virtual phone number. It's like $50 a month. You have a few things. So basically that might cost you like $500 a month to get started. And this one costs you nothing, or perhaps $50 a month to get started. And so depending on where you are, plus of course then the marketing cost, but depending on where you are, you're anywhere. And this is a spectrum, by the way. You don't have to be here or here. You can be anywhere in between. So what I see for particularly our medical clients, like I can think of Anila, she's a dentist. She was able to bring this up to full-blown dentistry, dentist office, running it, having like a day or two a week where she's stepped back and perhaps had a second dentist work for her. I'm not entirely sure. And during that time, she did enough business to make something like $600,000 in the first year. I mean, she's a go-getter. She's the perfect example of like somebody who has like, I know I can do this. I've gone through dental school. I've built up a practice. This sounds easy compared to everything else. And she went ahead and did that. And then subsequently, she actually sold her practice. And now she just, to keep her license active, works like once a week at a different practice. But other than that, she spent about, I would say, 10, 15 hours a week starting out. We typically say 8 to 10 hours is something you can do. And then you build within, let's say, 6 months or so, 6-9 months, you get to your first 6 figures. Or like Anila, she did it much faster. She was 6 figures in 3 months. And at that point, you then make some decisions. And the decisions are either to bring in, like, let's say, a team member to do all the busy work for you. So you can keep doing what you're doing while your business grows, or you scale back on your business, spend a little bit more time there. But then there's another phase to that. We call it the 4 stages of growth in our business. The first stage is also always the startup. I mean, you set up your systems, things that doesn't take much time. The second and you get to your first deal. The second stage, you ramp up your production, your deals. The third stage is where we call it like second stage, we call it the build up, because you're going build up. The third, we're going up in volume. The third stage is build out. So now you're putting more systems in place, more automation in place. And the fourth step is mastery. And mastery can look like something like one of our coaches, Aaron. He does like 50 deals a year, average profit $20,000 to $30,000. So it's a 7-figure business. and he has automated things so drastically that he does it in 5 hours a week. So basically, that allows him to now come back and really fulfill his passion, which is coaching and teaching. So he's one of our coaches and helping the next generation up. But so he does his deals, and he still gets to enjoy talking about it and showing what he's learning and geeking out on it and getting into the details and finding out new ways and better ways to automate and outsource things. So this is possible too. So you can take this. And then there's some people who run a $600,000 a year business and doing mostly everything themselves because they just absolutely love it. But it's a spectrum, and you can be where you want to be for that.
So there's startup, build up, build out, and mastery.
That's right.
That's
typically
great.
We try to get our clients, our students through that in a year.
Wow, that's amazing. The other thing that I heard through this process, so flip, when I think of flip, I've done a few pieces of land myself and even into the development side of things. But I've flipped plenty of houses as well too. And there's this, I call it's the kill and eat way, the active way to generate these bubbles of capital, right? And the challenge on that is the taxation piece of it. The thing I heard or actually I feel like I saw it when you said it, was the cash for life thing, the forever cash. And I'm thinking that this is probably how you acquire a piece of property for $30,000 and you sell it, say, for $60,000 or whatever it may be. You get that $30,000 down payment. And then over time, you basically are seller financing this piece. Yeah. So your capital gains are spread out over time. Is that right?
That's correct. Yeah. So you only pay taxes as the money comes in. And then after, of course, subtracting all your necessary business expenses, which, of course, just like if you have a medical practice, includes your car, includes your trips to, in this case, like if you have a piece of land in Hawaii, you can go to Hawaii to go visit your land, and then the flight becomes deductable, et cetera, et cetera. And that's what my CPA tells me. So I'm not trying to do anything illegally, right? So it's that, so et cetera, et cetera. So you subtract that from it. But yeah, of course, if you do the wholesale deals, you pay taxes on it. If you do the seller-financing deals, you spread out the income, and therefore you pay only taxes on the money that comes in. But that actually leads us to a third kind of step. And that third step is really what we call our wealth creation step. And that is that imagine you're making $1 million in combination of those things, whether that comes from cash flow or from one-time deals. You owing $300,000 or $350,000 in taxes or whatever it is, like you're owing the taxes on that. Well, one thing we have added to the puzzle, and that obviously that we teach people just in principle, though, just we make them aware of that, is that what we have done is we now have started buying. So we have buying single family and multifamily properties. So we have nothing against houses. Mm-hmm. It's just a more complicated way to make money if you want to flip. But it's a great way to hold money and to hold cash and also get all these tax write-offs. So what we do is we make our money in land flipping, and then we roll that money over into multifamily properties where we get huge amounts of depreciation. And as a result, we basically pay almost no taxes. Now, the answer in this case, and I know your audience is in medical field, the audience is like, well, they're sophisticated. So the answer that I get every time I talk to a doctor, I like that, because I have a lot of doctors that tell me that they're like, I love what I do, but I hate the insurance world, right? Mm-hmm. I hated all the insurance and nickel and diming the thing and all this kind of stuff. I wish I could just be a doctor part-time, fulfill my passion, but then I wouldn't make as much money. So I need to supplement this money in there. Well, the thing is, if you or your spouse can become a real estate, let's call it a real estate professional, which is somebody that basically is either a real estate agent or spends time investing and spends over 750 hours a year on that, then you can actually take those huge write-offs and write them off against your active income from other businesses. Mm-hmm. So, for example, what a lot of people in the medical field do, they have their spouses become the real estate agent, become the real estate professional, and then they file jointly. That qualifies. And as a result now, say you made $1 million and you invest and you use that $1 million and you buy yourself a $4 million apartment complex. And now because of that, you get like almost $1 million in depreciation. You just wiped out your entire income on paper. You pay zero income tax, but you still have your $1 million was used. You still got cash flow from that apartment complex now coming in. And you were able to use the full $1 million and pay no taxes on it.
Yeah.
And we use that extensively. And as a result, for the last few years, we've paid either very little or zero taxes.
Yeah, that's the leveraging the opportunities that are there, making sure you're surrounding yourself with the right people. Jack, you've probably experienced this through the years, not being a CPA yourself, not being an attorney yourself.
Yeah, of course.
Making sure you're at the table with the right people to lead and to show by their own experience that they've done this. And we can leverage these things while they're possible within the current laws to get there. It is mind-blowing. It gives me goosebumps to think about the things that we can do just by sharing this information. Ask the question, like you've probably heard REP, you've probably heard real estate professional, you've probably heard depreciation many times before as a listener to a podcast around the real estate world. That's just the seed to get started. That's enough to ask the question, hey, what does this mean? Have you done this, right? To surround yourself with the right people. That's remarkable. Switching your income from that active bucket to the passive bucket to ultimately get that continuous depreciation at a different tax rate than what we're doing in the active bucket is really important. Hey, I've got one more question for you, Jack.
And that actually, just say one thing, and that actually buying then that law buy and hold real estate, that's then true forever cash, because even the seller financing is fantastic. It gives you cash flow like 5 years, 7 years, 10 years, but it still ends at some point of time. So it's great what we call temporary cash, because you work for it once and you get paid again and again and again for years and years. But if you then really put it over into a hard asset class like an apartment complex, houses, things like that. A friend of mine is a gastroenterologist. He just, every time he has money, he buys another rental house, buys another rental house, buys another rental house. Now we got 20, 30 rental houses, and they provide a multiple six-figure income already. And on top of it, provide the depreciation. So as a result, this income is like tax-free.
Yeah, it's great. It's awesome. I got one more question for you, Jack. If you could go back, let's say 15 years, and you sat beside maybe a younger Jack Bosch and somebody that was similar mindset, similar direction, similar values as you 15 years ago, but now in this conversation, Jack, now, you know then what you know now. What would you take back to that moment and tell that person that you would be sitting beside that maybe was on the same direction as you?
I hate that question because it makes me think of my own regrets here. So I want to say, I'm going to start complaining on a very comfortable level here. Okay, yeah. So this is like champagne problems, right? So, but we've done really well. We're good. We've added apartments and things and a whole bunch of units and things. Life is good, right? Would I have known 15 years ago what I know today is I would have probably gotten more into what you mentioned earlier, into the entitlement space, into the development space, which can be taking a long time, like taking a piece of land and entitling it, meaning working with a county, with a city and so on, and getting them to approve the use of that lot. Let's say you have a 2-acre lot and you want to have it approved for 88 townhomes. Well, the city needs to go through a year-long process it takes to get through everything and drawings and engineers and things like that. Nothing gets put into the ground. No piping, nothing gets developed. It's just purely a paper exercise with the city that's takes a long time and requires a lot of attention to detail. But when you do that, you can take that lot that perhaps you could flip for a $50,000 or $100,000 profit, and you can make it worth $3 million more and make literally a $3 million profit on there.
Oh,
and that is something that I personally have to say I've never done, something we're getting into right now, but that some of our coaches now have done, So when people come to us and want to learn that, we're like, great, we got the coaches that are doing this that you can learn from. I'm running the company now. I'm not coaching anymore. I'm just making sure we have all the expertise in the company. But from a point of view of like, I should have done that 15 years ago because we just did 5,000 deals. We just flip, or wholesale. Self-financing did really, really well. But I can think of a dozen properties that would have been great qualifying for that. And I just sold them instead of actually taking those down and then developing. So there's really a 2-3 step process. And now what we teach our students is like exactly, you start wholesaling, you start making some money, you start using that to get out of the rat race, and then and start putting on the sidelines, create some cash flow through seller financing. But then as that becomes normal, you now go and you look and you learn that next skill, that entitlement skill. And then when the next deal comes in that qualifies for that, you got yourself that grand slam home run sitting right there, and you have the knowledge and the money to actually implement that deal. I didn't. That's something I wish I would have done, because that would have added, I don't know, by this point, I don't know, 9 figures to my net worth that I missed out on.
Yep. Yeah, well, it's a good thing you were telling that to that other person sitting beside you, because that way you don't have anything to change, Jack. Nothing at all. You've done so much, man. Thank you so much for your time. It's been a wonderful conversation, and I can tell just the years and years of experience, and so grateful that you now are sharing this with others around you.
Very welcome. Thank you for having me.
Yes, absolutely. And to the listeners out there today, one more time, it's Land Profit Fun, LandProfitFun. If you want to check this out, again, check out, it's just that piece. It costs nothing to take the action to click on that link, type it in, whatever you need to do to get there, because that's where you start seeing the information. And it's all about the perspective that you hold when you go to resources like this and meet people like Jack. Because I can tell you, it's all about what they can do for you and not get from you. This is something that's out there, and especially, and not only is it out there, it's underneath us, right? We're walking over it every day, and we could be walking over profit every day. It does take a little bit of action and time to get started, but it's like everything else. You get the systems in place, the processes in place, and the right people around you. You can turn land into a land mine, or a land mine of profit. How about that? So thank you for your time. And again, thank you for your attention. And this is the Real Estate Mogul, MD.